Dr. David Jenkins is a professor in both the departments of nutritional sciences and medicine. His team was the first to demonstrate the extent of metabolic effects on the viscous soluble fiber as found in fruit and certain oats on blood glucose and cholesterol lowering, which is relevant to prevention and treatment of diabetes and heart disease. He also believes in the value of plant-based diets and their benefits. Let us start the debate. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's start 30 seconds intro from our team against. Okay, I'm timing.
Hi, I'm Grace from Team Against, and we're against veganism due to the fact that it actually causes a lot of health risks as well as it negatively impacts one's living style.
Team 4, please.
Hi. We argue that veganism is the healthier option because it is healthier for most people and has a lower environmental impact. It is unnecessary for humans to consume animal products because people can thrive on a vegan diet. Humans can get all the essential nutrients from a vegan diet. Further, a vegan diet has been linked to reduced risk of diseases from diabetes to cancer. Further, consuming animal products is one of the largest individual contributions to climate change. Meat devours more land and water and causes more environmental damage than any other single food product. Further, the production of meat uses more water on average than the production of plants.
Right, so when I show a one whole hand, it means there's 10 seconds left. Can we hear your first argument, Team 4, please?
Can you hear me?
Oh. Yes.
Okay. So our first argument is that veganism is a healthier diet for humans. Significant scientific evidence has emerged disputing the necessity of meat in a wholesome diet. This is why the Canadian Food Guide was revised in 2019 to become increasingly more plant-centric. Processed and red meats have been found by the WHO to have carcinogenic properties and was even classed in the same category as smoking cigarettes. A vegan diet is not necessarily deficient in any essential vitamins or nutrients such as B12. Even a large portion of meat eaters are deficient in B12. A vegan diet is associated with a reduction in the risk of cancer by about 15%. Additionally, animal agriculture takes up more land in its production, resulting in the need to expand human contact to previously uncontacted forested areas and potentially exposing us to more zoonotic diseases to which we have not built up any resistance. This could lead to further pandemics along the road, which would claim even more human lives.
Great, thank you. Can I hear a 1-minute rebuttal from Team Against, please?
Vegan diets are generally low in protein and can cause blood sugar swings in certain individuals. There is also the risk of over-consuming carbohydrates on a vegan diet, especially since legumes are often consumed as a protein source. Also, eating disorders is also it's also another factor, and orthorexia is a type of eating disorder but is defined by an overfixation on healthy eating patterns and can result to an over-restriction, obsession, and serious eating disorders. Vegan diets remove some of the food that are most nutritionally dense, namely meat, dairy, and eggs, but because it usually replaces them with grains and vegetable oils, which provide cheap, nutritionally empty calories and create a lot of health problems. Naomi, do you have any, Grace, do you have any?
Yes, for sure. And such replacements, such as taking supplements, may be expensive to encounter the deficiency in nutrients such as B12, since it is only available from meats, as well as the replacement for protein is often from a soy source, and soy protein leads to problems such as hormone interference and other health effects, and also impacts one's life as well and living style.
The 1-minute rebuttal for Team 4.
To begin, orthorexia and food or disordered eating is not limited to a vegan diet. While veganism is a restrictive diet, it can also be inclusive. that thanks to food engineering and experimentation, almost any foods in a non-vegan diet have been recreated in a vegan way. So while orthorexia is common in vegan diets, it can also be in non-vegan diets. Further, humans do not need as much protein as the media portrays. We only need about 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight, which means that people need only between 56 to 68 grams of protein per day on average. And you can get a lot of protein from plant sources. For example, there's 19 grams of servings of protein in one serving of chickpeas. Further, soy hormones are not necessarily dangerous. The research on soy is very limited. And while soy does contain natural plant estrogens, they are much weaker than any actual human hormones. And it says that it only is in incredibly high amounts that someone could ever have some issues, and most vegans do not eat soy in this quantity. Further, soy has been linked to the reduction of bad cholesterol, which is also beneficial for health. And also it shows that, and there also is research that soy can protect against other cancers.
Okay. Can I hear your second main argument for Team 4?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'll say. So veganism is healthier for the planet. There has been overwhelmingly scientific consensus that anthropogenic greenhouse gas emissions are causing climate change at a devastating rate. Without a severe reduction in greenhouse gas emission, our cities will flood, species will be driven extinct, climate disasters will rise, and the planet will become inhospitable. Animal agriculture accounts for 11.8% of greenhouse gas emissions. Beef produces up to 105 kilograms of greenhouse gases per 100 grams of protein compared to 3.5 kilograms of emissions produced by tofu. The same study showed that the least sustainable plant-based option still produced less emissions than the most sustainable meat option. Livestock also produce methane, which is 84% more potent than CO2. Additionally, animal agriculture constitutes 80% of the total land used for agriculture, which takes up 38% of Earth's total land, which means a significant reduction in forested land. This is extremely harmful to the environment, as forested land acts as an important carbon sink. Additionally, it strips the land of its biodiversity, which is rapidly declining in what scientists have called the sixth mass extinction. Lastly, meat production consumes a massive amount of fresh water. 82% of 1/3 of fresh water is used due to animal agriculture, and fresh water is an extremely scarce resource at the moment.
Thank you. Can I hear the 1-minute rebuttal from Team Against, please?
Although in terms of food production, veganism is more beneficial to our environment. However, being vegan doesn't necessarily mean one is more environmental friendly than someone who is not. Outside of thinking about food production, there's so many other ways that we are producing like pollutions, and there are so many ways that we can help the planet, and this is not the only way to be vegan. It's not the only way to protect our environment. As well as living a vegan lifestyle is quite expensive, as that although one may think that may think that vegan might be less expensive in that it's plant-based. However, from my experience talking to people who are either vegetarian or vegan, is a lot more expensive to live on a vegan diet, as well as more difficult to obtain food, and there's a less variety of choices in occasions of
Sorry, Grace, I just have to stop the rebuttal. Can I hear your second main argument, please?
Sure, I can just segue into that. For example, in the social occasion of dining out, it's a lot more difficult, not difficult, but more challenging to find a dish that's more fitting, as well as since that vegans often need to take more diet supplements, it is more expensive, as well as it becomes a part of your routine, and you need to spend time and worry about things like this, as well as veganism sometimes leads to other health problems such as migraines, anxieties, and panic attacks. That's like negatively impacting one's living and lifestyle. Furthermore, often vegan food do not taste as good as what I would say like quote normal diet, and becomes difficult to it becomes difficult to ensure the quality and taste of your food, as well as it also increase other problems such as acne breakouts, which again leads to negatively impacting one's living style. Furthermore, something I got from Caitlin, since she is vegetarian, she said that when you are on a vegan diet or vegetarian diet, you're always hungry, and then you always want to eat more food, as well as she did also mention the fact that it becomes difficult to find a fitting dish, and there's a less.
And Grace, as well as that, it also makes you want to restrict more. So if, for instance, if you're actually recovering from an eating disorder, like I think the other team said, are you making it out that it's invalid, and that actually if you're vegan, any diet, you know, you can supposedly have an it's going to make you restrict more.
Yeah, just want to hear the 1 minute rebuttal from team 4, and then we'll have a back and forth open debate. Do you have a rebuttal, team 4, to their argument?
Yes. So first of all, taste is subjective and can be recreated with spices and vegan alternatives. And further, there's food engineering that has replicated most components of non-vegan diet, including eggs, meat, and dairy. Further, most restaurants have vegan options, and thus it does not necessarily limit a social life. Further, the more people that are vegan, the more that society and businesses will include these vegan options. They just need pressure from the public. Also, it is not necessarily more expensive to be a vegan, especially if you rely on grains rather than the fake engineered meats. And also, you do not have to supplement if you choose the right choices in a diversified diet. Veganism is further filling if you include a lot of fiber and if you choose the right foods rather than just leafy greens and vegetables. And meat has more connection to diseases, and further, dairy has been directly related to acne. So a vegan diet is actually better for acne in most cases.
So we can now start our 7 minutes open debate with team against. Do you have anything to say, a new argument or a rebuttal? Anything is free now.
Earlier, you mentioned something about food engineering and recreating the taste, but that goes into a more processed food and more processed diet, and that will lead into problem. And again, like links back to health, because we are creating more substitutions, but however, with that, there may be unknown risks from trying to manually recreate these tastes rather than getting something authentic.
To that point, I would say that most recreations are not necessary for a vegan diet. You can definitely have a vegan diet just on whole foods. However, that was in rebuttal to the issue of taste, that you will miss the meat taste in a vegan lifestyle. And to that point, most of these engineered food products are still healthy for you, and they are created through beets and other vegetables that are known to be good and have no negative effects.
But yeah, they're negative facts. There's fungus in these processed foods. They're not good for you. They cause severe eczema, asthma, exhaustion, can even maybe cause depression, which affects your lifestyle. Even blood clots. They're cheap. And exactly what if you're in a budget, if your family's on a budget and you want to you want to maintain this vegan lifestyle, then it's going to be hard to maintain, the money and the expense.
Again, a vegan lifestyle at its base is a very cheap alternative. It is less expensive than buying meat. And to the point of processed food is on both sides of the argument. It's in a non-vegan lifestyle as well. And you don't have to choose that if you are concerned about possible health effects of processed food. It is just to respond to an argument for taste, that you can still have the flavor of meat in a vegan lifestyle. To that point, we might introduce the issue of ethics, that it is unethical to kill animals and to abuse animals for the purpose of humans, that killing of animals is an unethical choice, and that we should opt to protect life in all forms, whether it is animal or human.
Anyone have a rebuttal?
On the point that you were mentioning, that fundamentally veganism is less expensive, however, that really depends on where you live and how you live. In many different countries, it might be different. For example, I would say I'm from a Chinese background, and in many places, to live as vegan, it will just like it will increase your cost, as not that the cost of plant-based food is more expensive, but in that your living style, your lifestyle will create will create obstacle along the way, and as well as in China, it's not as popular. Veganism is not as popular of a choice as well. So it also depends on your background and also the society you are in as well.
We do acknowledge that veganism is not right for everyone, but we do think that sustaining with the question is whether or not it is healthier option for future generations. We're not saying that everyone needs to be vegan. For instance, people who live in northern communities, it is impossible to be vegan. But for the general public, where people live in cities where most of the population is, it is very accessible to be vegan, and it is even cheaper to be vegan than it is to eat meat in most circumstances.
And how exactly is this vegan lifestyle going to, well, if I say that actually, iron, needing supplements, vitamin B12, that's irreversible. How exactly would we manage that?
Well, approximately 40% of the population, meat eaters included, are deficient in B12. So it's a pretty common problem, whether you're a vegan or not. So, I mean, that argument is pretty invalid. Also, I'd like to speak to your point earlier about how, well, in your case, vegetarianism makes you tired. I would say that there was a lot of anecdotal evidence coming from your side that just isn't really valid. I've been vegan for 8 years and I am not tired all the time. So, yeah.
Yeah, if I could just speak to that point as well. I think, as Laura said, a lot of, while your evidence maybe pertains to like one anecdote, many vegans have reported a boost in energy actually. So I do believe that it is a healthier choice, yeah, overall as well.
To add on to that point, there is actually a link between eating high quantities of meat and fat that is related to meat to feeling more lethargic, and that a plant-based diet might be able to sustain energy for longer periods of time.
We'll wait around 1 minute, see if team against has any other arguments and rebuttals to say. Oh, yes, Professor Farmer, you can ask a question.
Hi, so I just had a question about people that have health conditions. So I'm just gonna throw out there that my family suffers from autoimmune diseases that are digestive based, and it's really difficult for them to have high fibrous diets. So I just wanted to hear about either pros or cons about some of the information that you came across that would help maybe address that issue. Or if you can comment on that.
If I can take that, to respond to that, not all vegan diets are necessarily high in fiber. They can be adapted to any situation. And further, there is evidence that that veganism can change your gut microbiome. And that has been associated with like fixing other conditions such as type 1 diabetes to cancer. And this might a vegan diet might be an effective way to promote a diverse array of beneficial microbes in the gut. While I don't specifically understand the extent of your family's gut issues, that could be a possible solution. And further, we hold that veganism isn't necessarily perfect for every single person. However, we hold that veganism in general is better for the future generations, and that there should be more vegan foods or more people that are vegan in the future, not necessarily every single person.
So we have now reached 7:21 p.m. Thank you so much to everybody, and this debate was very interesting, and I'm going to put the judges in their own breakout rooms, and they'll have 8 minutes, so come back at 7:29 with your winner or earlier. Hello, so we are now back. Sorry about the 1 minute delay. So if the judges could please announce our winning team, drum roll.
Okay, David, are you ready?
Yes, you are ready.
Okay, so we've decided that the winning team is
the 4
team.
We say that together in unison, just to let everyone know that we debated, I think, and a lot of issues were brought up. Jen, I think, could speak to it, but if you like, I can say 1 or 2 quick words. We thought that the preparation and the presentation, especially dealing with sort of health, environment, and if you like, ethics, morality, were well put together, and perhaps easier put together on the vegan side. And we thought the meat side would have benefited, I think, if it was less of the personal experience and more of the sort of generic issues. We thought they could have been dealt with well. For both sides, we thought it would have been useful if they'd actually, as it were, given credibility to the other side's views and then argued the reason why not. That might have been a more potent way of putting it forward. Jen, what are your thoughts?
I don't have much to add other than off that last point. It's always nice to acknowledge, to kind of play devil's advocate and to acknowledge what somebody else will argue against you, and then to poke holes within that argument. It just makes your argument that much stronger and a bit more well-rounded to show that you've considered those challenges, but that you have information that's supported by evidence-based arguments to then argue against those challenges. So in favor of what you're debating. So we thought you guys did a really great job, and it was really nice listening.
So the winning team will receive their cash prize through email. I will contact you guys. And I just want to say thank you everyone for participating. This is Cafe's first debate, but it is not its last. Our next debate will be on a different topic, and hopefully will raise as many issues as we have today and very interesting things that we have brought up. I just want to say judges are also winners, so I will be in contact with you guys so that you can receive your Amazon surprise gift card. So, and lastly, closing remarks.
Thank you.
And lastly, closing remarks. Thank you everyone for participating and coming. Again, we have Design Expo that you can sign up for, and the line is Zero Hunger, Solved World Hunger. So it's a really interesting idea, and I will see you maybe at this next event. So bye.